Sup shitters, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SB Reviews, where today we're going to be listening through the latest album from an act named Nightbird Casino. They're a band that I'm intimately familiar with. I've listened to a little bit of their material over the years, or rather the year, because I've only been doing this for just over a year now. Just to correct myself here. We've got 12 tracks. Switch over to here. 12 tracks. We've got a intro all the way down to Nordic Retreat. We're going to be listening to this entire album from start to finish in this session. I want to make the album art as big as I can do here. It's very pretty stuff. I have listened to songs like The Town before, I think, and Catharsis Train, but it will be good to listen through the rest of these as an album to get the context of the entirety of it. So hopefully you enjoy this album. I'm sure that I will. And we've also got some liner notes to talk through the lyrics and other parts of this review. So let's get into it. Switching back to this part here. There we go, Russian Carpet. Track number 1. Kind of does sound like something from an old Russian TV show. Very tense strings in this one. Oh. What are those sounds? What are they? What are those instruments? It's very pretty. But there's a complicated tension to the overall instrumentation. Clown Toads. Okay, we've got a driving kick and snare groove on the quarter notes for some fills. Very free form. Oh, have they got an extra member? I can see there's 4 people involved in this. Is that a lady? So they've got a backing vocalist a lady backing vocalist. That's cool. Self-absorbed participation. So we will go through the lyrics for each of these at the end of each song. But yeah, I do quite like the simplicity of the percussion and the rhythm here. It allows you to focus on those lyrics. The guitar is very... There's an sort of sense of expanse to the guitar riff. Bass is driving. And it's nice to have these synths, that extra little bit of color in this part of the track review. Clown Toads. And Retardando. No, it's not Retardando. What is it? No, never mind, it was Retardando. I used to call it, when it slowed down like that, Retenuendo, which isn't even a word. It's gotten me in trouble a few times. Retardando, that tempo slowed gracefully there. Oh, we got some plucks. Stringed instrument. And a wow, wow, wow. There's a sense of... It's kind of unsettling, isn't it? Kind of sounds a little bit experimental. It's great to see Nightbird Casino trying new things, as they typically do. And yeah, this is a lovely liner, isn't it? Look at this. You got all the songs here. Nightbird Casino, Russian Carpet, Clown Toads. I've been hearing storms. Now I can't find the quiet without you. Do you mind if I seal our melt? That's an interesting lyric. Do you mind if I seal our meltdown? Baby, I got more upscale. I've made a wide berth. I've made a wide berth. Everyone is maritime sometimes. That's clever. That's some creative stuff. Did you see if I'm begging your pardon? Oh, so okay, let's just try and figure out each of these individual stanzas. So he's trying to find peace and needs this person to help them with it. I've got more upscale. There, he's making bigger moves, and he's not necessarily looking for her permission to be able to do that. Self-absorbed participation. Self-absorbed participation. Okay, so that's rhyming with precipitation. I've got new westerlies. That's why I need your sunshine. Oh, so he's like a boat, and he's got wind in his sails now. Do I mind if I steal your downturn? Do you mind if I try and take away that wind going against you? And you can be in the boat together, I suppose. Self-aware precipitation. These are some interesting lyrics. So there's some nautical themes that relate to the two of them. So maybe a codependence, but communicating that despite the bombastic nature of the person's behavior, there is still a sense of needing that other person in their life and that they're better off together. That's quite a lot of information from a 2-minute song. I could be completely wrong with it, but I'll own that if that's the case. I'm not known for being totally able to completely nail the meanings of songs on a first or even a second listen, but we will see how we go with the squid. I just want to have a quick listen more to this. Yeah, we've got some really nice vocal harmonies here, and occasionally we have the extra vocalist come in. Or maybe there's like 2 or 3 different backing vocalists. I'm not sure, man. It's been a while since I listened to Nightbird Casino, but it's cool to hear they're still going. The Squid, number 3. Oh, this is a lot longer, isn't it? I'll put this up for a little bit. So I'm supposing this follows off the synthy atmospheric bit we had at the end of Clown Toads. Is that a piano with a whole heap of reverb on it? Very moody, very dark. Music like this, when it's instrumental, allows you to imagine the world that it's representing. This kind of sounds like someone walking down the road without any... Oh.
Special, you said. Is this what you need? Every hand in pieces. I won't tell on you.
Bum 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 bum. But you see, you get a 2-note bass line, and then you've got this piano line that's repeating, and then you've got the bum 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 bum. I'm wondering why these different elements have been put there.
That's the second reason that I'm not alone. Who are you? Who are you?
Is that an oboe or a clarinet or something like that?
Run down in my grave. We have you now.
I haven't really heard these back and so I haven't really heard that in a song before. I'm trying to figure out if that's meant to represent, like we're talking about a squid. Are we talking about other sea animals? Like, is that a whale call or something like that?
Living on the barrels laying under the floors at the sentimental water. Don't go through that door.
So we're rolling with this main piano theme and bass line for most of the song at this point. That's cool. There's more about the story that's being told than the musical progression.
I can be kind, but not all the time. Sit down right now.
I mean, I don't believe it. I completely agree with that.
Sleeping,
Who wants to be kind all the time?
hate this thing they say. Who are you? Who are you? I don't need any handouts from the devil, you know. I admit I was angry. Who wouldn't be?
It's interesting. The bass guitar was noticeable at first, but then it just kind of fell into the mix with everything else. There's parts where I'm like, is that sitting right in the mix? And then another bit comes in and makes it, sort of normalizes it. That's really interesting.
Can't remember how long ago.
There's no chromaticisms or anything like that. It all sounds musically sound.
That July wouldn't bother to say anything. I don't know. Do you know? I do not know you. I can only you here on your own. Even in the darkness, you're uneven tide.
This is very different from Clown Toads, isn't it? I'm wondering about the context of this track and where it fits into the album. Whether this is one of those albums that's sort of so it's chronological, or whether it's about different elements of the overall concept. Just placed there because they go well into each other, regardless of the thematic progression. Okay, we're really accenting those keys now. Okay, Okay, there's a bit of clashiness going on there. Is that the end of the tail? Kind of sounds like a gunshot, doesn't it? And is that everything fading away because of those bangs? Kind of sounds ethereal a little bit. Still has that subnautical theme to it. That was a very surreal experience. You know, as a 7-minute song, straight from a 2.5-minute song. It's a big jump. And using Behind You on a Holiday, you're nothing special yourself. I won't tell on you. That's the second reason that I'm not alone. Interesting. Interesting. You're nothing special yourself. So is this describing someone who's very comfortable with themselves, perhaps too overconfident, and saying, hey, you have no reason to feel this proud of yourself after what you've done with the who are you, who are you? I can be kind, but not all the time. Sit down right now when I'm sleeping. We was talking about, you're talking about in dreams I find every hint in pieces. So is he struggling to cope with this stuff even when he's sleeping? I don't need any handouts from the devil you know. I admit I was angry. Who wouldn't be? Okay. All right. Yeah, these are very mysterious lyrics. Even in the darkness, you're uneven tired. Run home now. Mother's waiting for you. Again, is this a reference to the previous song, or is this something that will be made more will make more sense in future? I mean, the best I can do with the squid is I'm saying, even in the darkness, you're uneven tired. Run home now. Mother's waiting for you. Did things go afoul on the ship that was described metaphorically in Clown Toads? Did they not manage to sail the seas together? Is she waiting? Are they waiting for better times to come with no hope of things improving, and the protagonist is becoming exhausted by that? I don't need any handouts from devil you know. So is he talking about how he doesn't want any help from this person? He was just angry about it, and there's nothing that could be changed about that. He hates the pain of this frustration that he's feeling, that he can't even sleep properly without being reminded of it. He's aware that he can't leave this person on their own, but regardless, it's just a very, very difficult time. That's the best. The best I can do. Yeah, that was a deep one. The squid. I'm hoping I'll get more of a context for these tracks as we go along the album. But Scarlet number 4. Scarlet is also the name of a really cool song by a band called Periphery. Oh, okay. This is again very different to the squid. Reversed delays on those guitars. Or nicely sidechained bass. Those kicks are coming in strong, but they're landing the right way and they need to. Okay, they had a moment. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I don't know why the hell that happened. There we go. Oh, that's why it was so loud, because it didn't actually... Oh. I was wondering why the track was so loud, but my headphones didn't actually go down to where they needed to be. So that was fun. Go back to here. This is actually easier to hear the mix properly now, because before everything was quite loud. Okay, so you've got like a synth bass going boom, 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 boom. You know, it's a fairly simple bass line. The chord progression is following that. Is that an accordion or something like that? So the main lyrics that are coming through, this is the only lyrics that are coming through clearly to me in the mix at the moment. I know we had a moment. So the tricky thing with having more than one vocal melody at the same time is I'm not sure which one as a listener I'm meant to be paying attention to, whether this is something that is done as a repeater or if it's two different sides of the coin. What are we having here? What was that? What was that big voice on the right then? Sorry, was I tripping then? Like, what was that? What was that big voice on the end? No, that was there. What was that? The guitar and the harmonic instruments are quite dominant in the mix. It's a very bass sort of oriented percussive line. And there's a bass solo as well, that's always cool. And that was a very short, sharp, and succinct way to finish a 3.5-minute track. You know, we got Scarlet. You should have seen these two babes. They came in cruising even though it's too late. And saying it's too late, you got a little toothache. Cadence, do you feel lonely? Yeah, I mean, like, I'm trying to get the context for these different tracks, right? You've got, for these lyrics, for these different stanzas, I mean, you should have seen these two babes, they came in cruising even though it's too late. So that's suggesting that there were some attractive people and they were too late to the party. They got there too late. I ain't saying it's too late. You got a little toothache even though it's too late. What does that mean? Well, looking through your suitcase and it's kind of kooky, even though it's too late. I know we had a moment. Cadence, do you feel lonely? So is this talking, is this kind of reaching out to someone saying, hey, look, you know those moments that passed that we can never get back? Yeah. I mean, like, you sort of screwed it up. Do you regret it? Yeah? Memories spent on the beach with my friends. Harbingers sent and I dreamed of the end. And so, like, yeah, they had a great time on the beach, but he knew that it was coming to an end. Trestles, reason on your own. I'm still trapped in this corridor. I saw your eyes to their water bridge, should have said more. Memory spent. Like, I mean, I'm sure this is very, very personal to the vocalist, you know. And I'm sure if I just take a moment to think about this, I assume, is the toothache from the fact that there was too much sweetness or that it was kind of artificial or something like that and they had too much of it and they got burnt because of it? Yeah, man, half of these It's like I'm a detective trying to figure out the meaning behind the lyrics. You know, the music was very dreamlike with those reversed guitar riffs and well, not reverse guitar riffs, like the notes were reversed, like it was a reverse reverb or something like that. You know, that there's a function to reverse the sound of notes like that. And the bass was very thick and full in the mix, and it made it seem like it was like a dream track from like an 80s film or something like that. And I enjoy that. I think that's really cool. It's cool tonality. Just you've got someone who's like going back through their memories and trying to sort of calibrate what actually happened and make sense of it. And it just seems like such a shame because seems like things got really, really messed up. And there's like regret in the eyes of the person that he's talking about, and he doesn't want to hurt them alone. And but it's just too late, and he's waiting for the end now. It's too late for them to make peace with each other. You know, it's almost like bum bum bum. You know, that bass line that was happening in Scarlet. It resolves to this kind of definite kind of it's over kind of vibe to me, to insinuate there's an understanding that things can never be repaired. You got the town. Yeah, I think I've listened to this one before. Some nice bar chords with some extended harmonies. A little bit of sizzle to it, a little bit of light overdrive. I remember this. I like these octave harmonies that they've got here. It's really cool to have this additional little bit of color and context there. It's just a very easy little bit of melodic harmonic development you can do to add some brightness to it. There's some swing drums. Are they in town and they're drunk and they're enjoying the town and having a good romping kind of time with everything? Yeah, they at bars or something like that, just having a great time enjoying the lights. That reminds me of the Five Nights at Freddy's Yay song that they have whenever you manage to beat an item. We got the clarinet coming in. That's a nice traditional instrumental layer to this. I think it's welcome. Having a melody replace the vocals. It's very bombastic, like your average night on the town. Kind of symbolizes it well. You've got these different noises and these different influences, some of them harsh, some of them soothing, to indicate that it's a very vibrant, energetic part of their existences. Kind of sounded like a theremin for a moment. And they're concluding with it. Cool. There's a fair bit of compression on the mix. And I don't mean that necessarily a bad way. You can just tell that they've compressed the parts like the drum kit and stuff like that. It's a very how do I say this? They're trying to simulate the intensity of the town experience. I think in a positive way. Like you can still hear the individual elements quite cleanly. They've recorded an actual piano, haven't they? That's good. That's a real smart move. Well done. Yeah. You can tell, you can hear the keys. That's the thing I miss about hearing more piano-based recordings, is that when you use MIDI samples, you don't often get the sound of the keys. And it's such a shame. Yeah, it was very charming. It had a nightlife kind of vibe to it. You had like a lounge, like a jazzy nightclub, you know, where they have the drummer performing some swing beats. And the way they performed the vocals sounded like there were people singing together as they walked between pubs. You know, there was a joy to it. There was a lot of fun to it, you know? Well, we're in town. Let's kick it around into the town. You're obscene to me and we're spending all our nights jumping away from cigarette trains. If you can see the way, my darling, you'll be let down. Stand in line while I charge my phone. We're in town. I saw you moving close to me, but it's getting me down into the town. I don't understand it, because you've got, I saw you moving close to me, but it's getting me down into the town. So the person doesn't want them near, but then is it saying that like they want to maintain some sort of distance emotionally, but they still want to have a good time? Is that it? Is it discussing the contradiction there of like just wanting to enjoy yourself without getting too sort of into it with other people? Yeah, I suppose I saw you moving close to me, and if you hadn't see the way, my darling, yep. Those lyrics make sense together. You're obscene to me jumping away from cigarette trains. Interesting. So they wanted to have sort of a no restraints kind of setup where they don't want to get too serious with it, but you know, they just want to have a good time, and they want to sort of establish and respect the boundaries of the situation. Interesting lyrics. You know, this is why it's really cool to be able to read through the lyrics, because you know, there was a bit more depth in this than I could hear when I was reviewing all the other instruments, and I think that's something that's really powerful. You know, those lyrics adding that additional layer. I mean, that's an obvious thing. Of course, lyrics are going to add an additional layer to a musical performance, because you don't have a message a lot of the time unless you have a singer singing the message. But it's more like it's more like if you don't hear everything, you don't get the full picture. You know, I can understand this. It did sound like people, yeah, as I said, it sounded like people in town, and it sounded like some session musicians were narrating the two people and trying to enjoy themselves again with those boundaries. We've got Cascades, number 6. Nice filter work on that guitar. I like the EQing of it. Instruments slowly being added to that central musical theme. Oh. Sorry. That's not cool. I don't know why SoundCloud just went and did that in the middle of me listening to some tracks. Sorry about that. I wasn't meaning to give you an ad for SoundCloud. SoundCloud's just being a dick. I mean, it's reasonably heavy. This again is very different in terms of the emotional content. The town was seeming to be cheery with a sinister sort of a temperamental undertone. This, you got those distorted guitars with a really grimy melodic riff. You got similar harmonies to what we had with the intro, where you had these like Eastern European brum, 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 brum. You've got these being repeated. Those thematic things work with the idea of a Russian carpet like that. I see what they're trying to do here. There's a lot going on in the center of the mix. It's nice to hear the guitars more spread out now. Well, that's a vicious tone on that distortion, isn't it? There's some wah guitar. Okay. Okay, you had that solo repeating and developing upon the original guitar riff at the start. And you got some little twinkly trinkets here on this side. And that's an interesting step. I'm wondering what that's meant to represent. And we have that resolve without the resolution. Okay. All right. All right. I see you, Nightbird Casino. Cascades. Oh, cool. Favorite part of this. That's the joy of spending around $400 on custom lighting panels. Is you realize too late that one of them is coming off the wall, and then the second one comes off the wall, and then the third one comes off the wall, and then you come home and the $400 worth of Nanoleaf panels has just fallen onto everything below it, where there's like 3 different keyboards underneath it, and you've also got like the stack amp I've got here, and then I've got my custom PC on this side. Now you guys can't see that I've got a few toys in this room, but that's fixed now, so hopefully it won't fall over, and we won't have any more issues with the power. Great. Anyways, Cascades. I've seen a lot of you that comes and goes. I've been inside your head, under your clothes. So, like, is the person proud that the protagonist has been involved with them like this? I know your past of not spilling shit. The stars align and your face doesn't fit. Oh, so like this person just is not really a genuine human being at all. They're just completely fake. I've been a lot of you out of control. I've been around again with nowhere to go. But if you keep a Euclidean face, I'll stick... Who's Euclidean? So like a complicated face, I'll stick you in the lion's den. So if you don't keep an honest face, I'll deal with you, basically, is what's being saying there with Cascades. Yeah, okay, I'm starting to understand the connection between the different elements of this. Just was this person that's being spoke about, this other half, this affection of love or their interest, were they just like, did they have some real big issues? Like, were they kind of messed up and this behavior that's being exhibited is because of this? Is this about an abusive relationship or something like that? Is it about... I don't know, man. I've got questions about this, but I think I'm starting to understand it a little bit better. Because we have songs like Scarlet and Aubrey, which are names, right? So I'm wondering if that is something to do with it. Yeah, Cascades come and go. So they've seen a lot of this person, but they need them to not to get too full of themselves, and the stars align, and finally they've been caught for not being who they said they were. Yeah, so it sounds like it's describing like a relationship where you're in and out of it and you never know what's real and what's not. And you just feel like you're a slave to it, but you're warning them that you've messed up this one too many times, and we will deal with you this time if you pull this shit again. All right, we got Aubrey, number 7. Number 7. This is very pretty and very quiet. There's an incredible amount of dynamic range to this record, so it'll make it kind of spicy for me to mix in with the voice, but we're just going to see how we go with that, eh? That was a very happy sounding thing. That's got messed up. Okay, we're going for a much darker tone with those 80s dark wave synths. I kind of Phil Collins electric drums coming in here. I don't know how to keep my mind closed. There's nothing to know. Very consistent tonality to the vocal recordings throughout, which I'm very happy about. It sounds like they recorded all these tracks within a similar period of takes, and it gives it consistency in terms of the tonality of the recordings. It's really helpful. That's a harsh, unfiltered, cool. Bit of grittiness to that, bit of rumble, bit of thunder. You have this ascending which never seems to find an end. It just loops. It sort of resembles sort of a rebellious nature to it, or a confusion to the overall situation. Yeah, that's a very sinister choice for that third chord of that synth string progression. Now that's an interesting decision, having the bass panned on the left. Usually the bass is panned in the middle. I'm not used to the bass being on the left. I'm wondering why that was done. I mean, usually you would put the bass on the left if you're wanting to, like, say, hey, you know, there is something that's far more important in that low end here. Maybe it was a decision made because the kick was in the center, but then you'd usually sidechain the kick. Maybe they didn't want to sidechain the kick here. I don't know, man. Aubrey. I lay on my back to see my eyes closed. I stay on my back to see my legs go. This is so crazy. She likes the taste of me. I don't know. I gotta keep my eyes closed. I stay on my back to guide my legs. So I lay on my back to keep my mind closed. Is this about sex? Like, are they talking about? Is this about like sex and like not wanting to think about why it's being done and like one night stands and stuff like that? I don't want to know to keep my mind closed. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about this one. This is tricky. This is a tricky one. I stay in the back to see my mind closed. There's nothing. There's nowhere to go. These lyrics are so mysterious, dude. I feel dumb reading them. Like, I try and read books every day. You know, I try and read a chapter of a book every day. And I try to, so, you know, because I wasn't reading for about a good decade, and I was like, oh, well, my brain's not getting a lot of exercise, so let's try and read some books. I read this. Screw it. We're going to take it at face value. Okay? Like, lay on my back to see my eyes closed. That makes sense. He's got his eyes closed. He can see it if he just is on his back. I stay on my back to see my legs go. I'm assuming I don't know how to keep my mind closed. There's nothing to know. Like, is he saying that he has to be on his back in order for him to know which direction he's going in? So his legs go? Is that it? Like, it's about saying, if I don't make this concession, I'll just be stagnant and nothing will change. I don't want to know to keep my mind closed. So, like, there is no will to sort of be alien from the situation. He doesn't want to know to have to ignore this stuff and to try and keep it out of their system because there's a sense of denial there. There was a meandering, lumbering vibe to that track there with a hint of dissonance, cognitive dissonance here with that, those synths there. And then you had that, and you had like a diminished or sort of like a really harsh minor chord there. It just looped, man, as if it was being repeated again and again. There was a oral or tonal contrast to the different elements in there that are interesting when compared to the lyrical content. And the Aubrey is a deep track, a fascinating one, but I also think it's one of those ones that I'm maybe overcomplicating a little bit trying to analyze it. You got Hourglass 1. This is very dreamlike and very beautiful. Oh, I was so hoping they were going to go to another bass note there, but we went back to the root. Oh, you're just teasing. You're not going to do it, are you? Again, you've got 3 or 4 different instruments in here now. Started with a couple. This is how Nightbird Casino rolls. Are these like trappish kind of drums coming in here? Okay, so you had a theme in the middle with the percussion, and now you've got some stereo pan stuff, or some like side pan stuff. Again, just layers added. Hourglass 1. There is also an Hourglass 2. Is this about time passing? Is it about the seconds going by? Is this the movie clip where like you see the people working for a year training themselves, or you see them watching out the window and more stuff happens, more and more stuff occurs, and nothing truly changes? Yeah, that vibrato there is a little bit unsettling, to be honest. Sounds like it's scuttling. Like there is something scuttling on the left side of my headphones. I don't know if I like that or not. That was a little bit unnerving for me. It's like, it would have taken a lot of time to decide which specific elements would have gone into that. I'm sure that Nightbird Casino knew what they were doing. That's a very unusual one, Hourglass. I'm assuming that these experiences with the different people like Scarlet and Aubrey were things that happened maybe, you know, like in a past time, and it's reminiscing about those people and the influence that they had on your life. And looking back on the progress you've made. We got a cool clip of them in the studio doing stuff. It's pretty dope. Pretty dope. Wow, look at that pedal board, man. Look at all those. See, I just got a GD100, man. And then if I need stuff, I just plug it into Neural DSP or something like that. But I have got a lot of love for this pedal board here. It's really dope. It's really cool. And we got, oh man, it's a nice looking China symbol here. We got that. We got a crow with that necklace on there. Is that a Fender? What type of bass is that? Is that a P bass or a J bass? I don't know, man. I'm showing my ignorance here. I know it's a very fun. I confuse the two. This is a Catharsis Train. Oh, we're doing the lyrics. Oh, hang on. Catharsis Train. I am familiar with this one. I do quite like this song, actually. I remember listening to it previously. They have a massive... Oh, I won't spoil it. That wouldn't be fun, would it? Phase, stereo, pan, phaser. Is this referring to the trains that they were talking about in the town? Oh, they were talking about cigarettes in the town, weren't they? This is a cleaner mix than the previous one they had. It wasn't bad, but this is sounding a little bit more polished, which is really good. I really like that. That's all there is. I like how we have that higher range vocal part there to finish it. It just gives that all there is line a lot more presence, and it makes it stand out in the mix. And again, we have that emphasis there with those vocal harmonies at the tail end, the second half of every verse line. The bridge again. Ooh. Nice little active bass line we got going here. I'm enjoying this. More of that, please. Good. Sick. It's very relaxing. I'm sure that if they wanted to, they could have made it sound really, really huge by double panning the guitar and adding some power chords underneath. But I don't think that was the goal of Nightbird Casino. Almost tempted to try and do a cover of it. I think it'd be really dope as a middle cover, eh? I don't know if I'll be able to play this, but this part sounds pretty ridiculous, but... I love this sort of really distorted, dysfunctional guitar solo-age, though. It's gritty and filled with trepidation and like someone wants to fight you, you know? It's wild. It sounds like two robo guitarists dueling each other with twin shreds. Oh, that's fun. That has a real Muse, Radiohead-ish kind of vibe to it. And I'm familiar with the fact that Nightbird Casino are fans of Radiohead. They like this kind of stuff, which is probably where some of these influences come from. Catharsis Train. Probably the reason why I haven't sort of talked too much about the musical aspects of it within listening to it is because I'm familiar with it, which isn't that fair to people who haven't listened to this track before. So if I'm to try and skip the parts that people would have been aware of simply by listening to the song, the composition itself was very, very simple. You know, you had an intro, verse, sort of instrumental bridges where the last part of the verse was repeated, and then you had the choruses, and then you had that last section where I suppose it was meant to be the melodic interpretation of what the vocals are talking about as sort of twin guitar solos. And the drums were fairly supportive throughout. There wasn't too much dramatic percussion, too many wild drum fills, because it didn't really need to be. The vocals were lovely and had a warmth and beauty to them. It was like a friend kind of wishing you farewell. That's the kind of vibe I got from that. And very gentle tonality to the, very gentle sort of style to it. None of that harshness from some of the previous tracks, The train's leaving after 10, will I see you there again? And maybe we'll be glad she threw all my cigarettes away. So is Hourglass after the things happened in the past and now they're looking back on it and wondering if it was the right decision? I would have waited up all night like I've always been here. I've always waited here, all right? Here's all there is. So all there is the person not being there and the emptiness from that not being in your life anymore. This show's making empty knots, hiding all those precious thoughts. Thoughts? Thoughts? Is that what I think it is? Thoughts. They've got to come back down if we're going to come alive today. What is this? Okay. I don't know, man. I don't know how to interpret that. What is empty? I'm understanding this part. Especially when you consider Hourglass. This chill's making empty knots, hiding all those precious thoughts. What does that mean? They've got to come back down if we're going to come alive today. What is that? I don't understand the lyrics. I've listened to this song twice. I've reviewed this song twice now. I still don't understand the lyrics. It's confusing for me, man. Is it these people, these memories, they've got to come back in order for us to be able to enjoy ourselves? Have they realized that waiting alone is kind of crappy and maybe they need to revisit and reevaluate the situation with the people in their lives? Maybe that's it. That's the best I can do at this point in time. These are some mysterious lyrics, dude. We got London. What is London going to be about? Okay, we'll go that slow crescendo. Potentially. I don't quite know. We've got a radio filter on these vocals. That's very interesting. Is this meant to be like actually their experience in London, or is it a similar place to London? Is what they imagine London is? Hey, it's nice to hear a soloist from the lady singer. Okay, that song came and went, didn't it? Okay, you had 2 guitars, bass, drums. What else did you have? Let's just have a listen to that again. Poor darling, you've got so much to lose. Poor darling, I'm not waiting for you. Yeah, poor old darling, you've got so much to lose. Poor old darling, I'm not waiting for you. Poor old darling. So the hourglass is, that time has passed and the person isn't the same fool that they used to be. You know, he's not taking, he's not going to be taken for granted by this person again. So like, the only choice now is to really kind of, is just to accept that the person's changed and they're in London now, and you know, like he's managing to accomplish his dreams and the other person's been left behind because they took the piss, effectively, is my take from this. Yeah, am I right? Is that kind of the answer to London? And it was a short song just to show the progression that they've made as people, you know, that they're not going to be left behind anymore. Hopefully that makes sense. It was short and sweet, and is that like this part here, right? Oh, poor darling, what are you waiting for? I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of this one. That's a confusing one, but at the same time, it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, you know, people just change with time, you know, and you know, so sometimes the changes for the better. Yeah, we've got a Ketos number 11. I'm liking that foley that was instantiated at the start. I think it's really pretty. It's weird not to have drums in this, but I think the shakers are enough to keep the groove going. You got these overlapping vocals. I'm familiar with this song as well. It's a very dreamlike, solemn song, isn't it? I suppose if it's following on from London. Melancholic, bittersweet vibe of that. If you're wondering why I'm not commenting too much on the music within this, it's just because I'm listening for changes. Because you have that main theme here. You know, like that main sort of guitar line is effectively continued throughout. It doesn't really change a whole lot. There's the occasional lead line on top. You got that wow, and I'm not entirely sure what that is meant to be. Is it a? Could be like a guitarist. I don't know what that is. Is that like a guitar that's being slid? And you know, is that like a very slowly slid guitar? What is that? Kind of sounds like an alarm system or something like that, but like a very nice, pleasant alarm system. And the shakers at the end. I saw like a voice box and hang on. Wondering how much this has been used in this recording. You know, like I'm wondering how much this has been used here with a, maybe that's been used with a guitar or something like that, or you know what I mean? Like maybe there's been, not like the guitar, but like maybe this has been used for that sound effect there. We've got a Ketos. Come hither tomorrow, this body I borrow. It will take 1,000 years to drain the poison. Demi sangre sentia demi sir. She's alright, but there's something you don't know. Come hither here tomorrow. Is this a line? So this is a different stanza. So we've got this stanza, then this one, and then it does go here. Okay. Come hither here or go tomorrow, this body I borrow. 1,000 years to drain the poison. So what's he talking about here? As the dark of the night blurs all faces around, we begin to be found. I fade to black, take the blame, the silence that surrounds. I feel alright when I've got someplace to go. I think tonight there's nowhere I won't go. So, I don't know, like if we look at London or other places, to drain the poison, it would take 1,000 years to drain the person. Of my blood, something in my... Something to me, sir. Of my blood, something of my... It's tricky, isn't it? Of my blood, essence of my being, right? So is his essence the poison? Is there so much of himself that he can never escape the pain or anything else that's involved in this? As the dark night blurs all faces around, we begin to be found. I fade to black. The silence that surrounds, so that they become someone else and at night time, and they're exploring themselves together, and they're different people. There's something you don't know. I think tonight it's someone you know. Are they both different people? When nighttime comes around, I feel alright when I've got some place to go. I think tonight there's nowhere I won't go. Oh man, this is confusing. You know, like there's a lot of darkness to these lyrics, and there's like a malign acceptance within the tone, the harmonies of the song itself, and there's this interesting sort of discrepancy between them that I can't quite facilitate. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I just can't put two and two together for some reason. I'm really struggling with it. I get it. I kind of get it. Is it that they can only be themselves at night, where they can truly be themselves and they don't have to try and lie to each other? Is that it? Is there something more than what's been given here? I'm trying to read into it to like understand it fully because I don't want to half-ass this. But I also don't know what more I can take from it. There's a lot of these lyrics are very personal to the band, and there's a story of that they know and that they're telling, and I completely vibe with that. I completely get it. But my brain is like, I'm just not putting two and two together. I feel really dumb reading these lyrics. You know, I've read. It's not like I struggle with reading stuff. Like I've read books on investing for goodness sake. I read the book that oh shit. Yeah, like I read like the big red book that Warren Buffett read when he was starting out. It's 800 pages. It's just talking about numbers, and it breaks you and builds you again. That kind of book. It's not like I'm incapable of reading, understanding material that's very, that's complicated or anything like that. I have a capacity for it. I guess I have to accept what I'm being provided with these lyrics. You know, as a night. Okay, I mean, my my understanding of it is that it's just talking about, you know, they're people that they are during the day, and at night nobody else matters, and there's these sort of contradictions and struggles that they deal with in regards to each other, things they don't know about each other because of the multiple faces they have, but the lines blur and they do the cycle again, or maybe they found each other in London. You know, maybe they gave each other another chance, and this was, you know, the thousands of years is they it's going to take them a very long time to recover from where they were, but they're trying to find themselves again anyways. You know, they're willing to give it another shot, and we've got Hourglass 2. Okay, and we're doing that thing where we don't go to the corporation I think we're going to go to again. And that's okay because it's not my song, it's Nightbird Casino's song. If you're wondering why I look a little bit shifty, it's because I had to fix something up before and then I saw a massive spider crawling across the ground. And I have no idea what the spider is and it's freaking me the fuck out, but it's okay. Yeah, that piano line starts real pretty going through that major, and then it kind of goes bam, bam, and it goes to a chromaticism, which makes it ugly for a brief moment. Okay. Now it's nice. It's nice to have vocals in here in this one, because I don't think we had any singing in Hourglass one. Are they commenting on the time that's passed? As opposed to before they were silent? Yeah, like it just sounds like a dream sequence. It just sounds like a dream sequence to me, this entire situation. You've got all these different voices coming in. There's not a super duper amount of oh man, what's the word I'm looking for? There's not a whole lot of intention going on here. It's not like there's a specific line or train of thought that's being highlighted here.
This place of distant light.
I mean, I say that and then they have a harmonized line where they're in unison.
Defaced carry
Never mind, just ignore me, dude. I mean, alright. Okay. I mean, it did share a tonal similarity to Hourglass 1. It made sense musically. Yeah? It finished nicely. I'm gonna have to look through those lyrics to really get an understanding of what's happening with this track. We've got Hourglass 2, Fade in black and white, jars turned upside down, walls scream, silent flight of a journey. This is very abstract, man. Like, this is very abstract stuff, and I just feel really dumb. And now it's frozen. Okay. I just feel really dumb reading this. Close up, blazon, rivers running dry, traces of the end of time in the corner of my eye. What is a caryatid? Oh, it's like, it's a stone carving of a draped female figure used as a pillar to support the entablature of a Greek or Greek-style building. Okay. Defaced support structure? Okay. Alright, I get it. There's no pride in it. So, obviously Hourglass 2, things have gotten really horrific. Wolves screaming, silent flight of a journey too long. Yeah, things are sounding pretty horrendous. Close up blazing, rivers running dry, traces of the end of time in the corner of my eye. Okay, so it's gotten ludicrously bad. The state of famine, this place of distant light, a heart is stolen, defaced caryatid. I just want it to stop. Is this following on from Akitos? Where at nighttime there's a cycle that is continuing even after all this time. And they're just so sick of it and so done with the situation that they want a permanent escape from it. And that escape never comes. Man, fuck, I just feel so dumb. I can review music. I can understand the music and parts of it. And I understand that a different story is being told with each of these. I can empathize and understand that there is an incredible amount of weight to these words. Is it basically saying that his life force is completely stripped bare and they're just an undead a revived corpse, completely desiccated. You know, the heart is stolen, and there's just eternal pain. Everything's just a complete shit show. In the end, is that it? The person's completely losing their mind and losing their ability to function, and just time has destroyed them because they've never been able to change. That's my best take on this one. This is a tough album for me to understand. And then we've got Nordic Retreat, which is the last one. I didn't see lyrics for this one, so I'm assuming that this may be an instrumental, but I could be wrong. Again, we've got these stereo panned parts going on here to kind of simulate your mind being messed with. It's a very unsettling experience listening to this song in particular. Sounds like a wolf on this side of the headphones. That's a very full sounding bass. That bass is extremely prominent in the mix. There's quite a lot of that bass in the mix. And it's just gone. That was a stylistic thing, I assume. I mean, is this meant to represent a Nordic Retreat? Is this like something to follow on from Hourglass, like with the way that the person was going through a sense of complete sort of psychological annihilation? Is this meant to be their getaway from that? I got questions, dude. I don't know how to describe how this song sounds in words that will potentially, you've got vocals. Sounds like the wind. In that part there, like a wind flying past. And you've got this bass line that comes in occasionally. I'm not really sure how to review this one, to be honest. This is incredibly sort of experimental. It's almost verging on avant-garde. Sort of sounds like it's supernatural even. You've had that drum beat occur for the entire time to have some anchor point for the song. Like, as a person suffering from addiction issues or like mental health issues or something like that, and they can't break away from it, and it affects their ability to sort of like deal with other people. Has this been a result of the trauma that they've gone throughout these experiences? Like they're crying out for help, but it never comes. I don't know. I genuinely don't. I don't know, man. This is a very difficult one for me to sort of like get my head around. I'll fly to the end. We're right back. You know, like when I think about Russian Carpet by Nightbird Casino, this isn't really the ending I was expecting to have. This album is a lot darker than what it sounds like. You know, there is some serious kind of, from what I could tell from some of these tracks, there was some real dark shit going on. And you know, I've outlined each of the tracks at the various points where I've looked through the lyrics for them. And if we look through here, a lot of work has gone into each of these songs, and I've got a, yeah, I'm assuming it is. I'm assuming that it is about sort of mental health issues and those kind of things. You know, don't forget to write in your gratitude journal. That's the thing that really gets to me, man. It's a beautiful, like, don't get me wrong, I don't have an issue with the music. It's just really difficult for me to understand it. Maybe this is one of these albums where you've just got to not overthink it and just take the lyrics at face value. But then I couldn't get the lyrics at face value to make thematic sense in my head. And maybe that's because I'm just dumb. I don't know. I know I keep focusing on that. But what I want from a piece, I want to understand the music. And it's frustrating when I can't understand the music. And I know that that's the subjectivity of music, is that even on a logical, factual level, you've just got, maybe you've just got less, obviously got less of a capacity for it. Maybe you need to have experienced similar things to what Nightbird Casino have gone through. And this is one of those rare moments where I say, I don't really relate to what the music's about. And I think that's inherently a good thing, because it sounds like the people involved have gone through a horrific time, man. And I don't just want to be a negative Nancy about it. It's more like, it just sounds like a struggle. We're finishing on Nordic Retreat like that with that really just nihilistic kind of stuff going on there. It felt very empty and like it was in a wasteland. You had the intro that sounds like it's the start to some play or something like that. And then you have this. It's a massive transition between that. And you get the impression that this is dictating the start of your life, as maybe as a teenager or whatever, getting involved with people sitting on the beach, through to the end where you're lifeless, cold, and alone. And maybe I'm going way too dark with it, but this is my own personal experience with it. And I think that Nightbird Casino are allowing the listener to make their own interpretation of it by being purposefully poetic about it. You know, I don't think that they're bad lyrics. I think they're fantastic lyrics. They simultaneously confuse me whilst retaining my interest. And that's an extremely difficult thing to do, because there's a fine line between making lyrics that are sort of like deep and meaningful that you have to think about, and then like making them deliberately obtuse and obstructive to the point where it just, people lose interest with trying to understand. Yeah, it's a Pyrrhian victory. You know, you spend like 3 hours trying to find lyrics and it doesn't seem like it's worth it. That's not the case I got with Russian Carpet. The instrumentation, though, which is what people asked me to sort of focus on more, the instrumentation was fine. It was fine. I can't really complain about anything there. There is the occasional part where maybe the drums and the guitar didn't sync up or something like that, but like performance-wise, I think that's okay. I'd much rather have a raw, organic performance and people time aligning the guitars and the drums like a robot or some shit like that. We're not doing EDM, okay? It's like, it's alternative rock, for fuck's sakes. You know, just keep it chill. You don't need to just overcomplicate and oversaturate stuff with post-production stuff. Just play the instruments well and it'll sound good. You know, the stylistic choices, the different instruments. Occasionally I got confused. Like, I still haven't figured out Nordic Retreat whether there was a specific vibe they were going for, or if it was just meant to be mildly uncomfortable to listen to. I think it was meant to be mildly uncomfortable to listen to. It definitely didn't end on a happy note. It sounds like Russian Carpet had a really tragic finish. It was like a cautionary tale, because there was no real resolution going through the town. It's like people getting drunk and then going between people and then struggling to connect with them, and then people being bigger than they are and not having enough of an ego or having too much of an ego. You got Catharsis Train and London with people still not changing after all those years in the Hourglass, and then eventually the person's left alone and completely decrepit. The mixing, the recording was well done. I think that the recording quality of the different instruments was pretty good, and it would have been difficult to get all of those different instruments sounding the way that they did. Like, I can't imagine what would have been involved in recording things like the piano, for example, or something like that, where you need a big room to be able to record a piano. You can't record it in a small room. You need to have some size to that. And for the keys to come through as well as they did was fantastic. I don't know about the mixing and mastering to me was interesting. They had some very strong. They made some very strong moves there in some respects. There were some parts where some instruments were just plain more dominant than others, and I think that was a thing they did on purpose as an atmospheric kind of thing. It's not like it was an issue when you had all the instruments behind a vocalist or something like that. They not only knew how to mix things for the sake of a song and the different elements being coherent and sensical, they also knew when to really sort of screw with you a little bit and your expectations and have something a little louder than usual just to keep going away. What is that? You know, I think that's a smart move. A lot of music nowadays is sanitized to the point where it's uncomfortable, or I don't know, maybe I'm just projecting. It just seems like it's a bit. People make it sound like it's a bad thing to not have everything within a 0.25 dB where it should be. Like, you can't take risks. And to be fair, a lot of music is mastered to a point where if you do have something that's a bit too loud, it'll completely digitally distort and it'll sound like complete garbage. But Nightbird Casino, this album was more of a direction towards the atmosphere, the environment of the music, as opposed to simply telling people messages. And I think that when you've got a quintet like this, you have room to play around with that. I think it's good to have moments to explore everyone's strengths. This would have been more of a team effort. No, I'm not saying the other one wasn't, but when you've got, I think they maybe they had more people involved. When you've got more people involved like that, you've got these different elements, and there just will be a different result. But it worked out in the end. But like, definitely the lyrics are a lot darker than the music, and it's just something that my brain is still getting its head around. My favorite tracks off of this were probably, I mean, the squid made a lot of sense. The town was a funny one. I took it at face value the first time listening through it. The second time, it was weird. It just that there was a sense of joy to some of the vocal performances, but then you understood the context, and it was just depressing. It was just depressing. Catharsis Train is just a banger 7 days of the week. I still want to do a cover of that song, but I'll wait a while until these guys get their album out. And there were no weak tracks, just Akitos. It's just that, like, the musical concepts were good individually. There weren't any moments where I was like, wow, that's something I've never heard before. But I still think that this is a really positive development in regards to Nightbird Casino and what they're capable of as musicians. Technically competent. Compositionally, there's occasional very raw, rough bit. But again, with these guys, because they're so atmospheric with the way they write their music and there's a sense of symbolism behind it, you can't tell whether or not it's deliberate. I guess if we take it at face value that it's deliberate, then there were some parts I just didn't like for the sake of them not sounding good to me, but I understand why they were there. Does that make sense? I think that it's not the band's decision. It's not a band's job to make me feel comfortable at the end of the day, and I recognize and respect that. So I think in that way, an album can do incredibly well despite the fact that it doesn't make you necessarily feel good. I don't necessarily feel better than I did before I listened to this album because I've considered the weight of what's been put in front of me, and I just feel sad, man. And like, this to me, the line here, don't forget to write in your gratitude journal, that means that we're on the right page. That one line there is, hey, I found me. Hey, that gets me emotional, dude. I've never been featured on anything like this. That got me a little bit. That's the thing. I do these reviews, and sometimes I act like I know stuff, dude. I'm just a dude who listens to music on the internet. Um, at the end of the day, I gotta hand it to Nightbird Casino. This is their new record, and I can tell they put a lot of time and effort into this. And I know that music isn't a meritocracy, but this is the kind of music we need. It's music that isn't designed to make us. It's designed to make us to think in a way that's not condescending, in a way that's not completely abusive of our time and attention. Like I've listened to stuff which isn't designed to make you feel good. Like this is respectful of the listener. There are some people who make music deliberately offensively, like King Cobra, for example, who I did some reviews of just because I was curious, and I'll never listen to him again because it was just I just can't. You know, you don't want to go back to that. But Nightbird Casino, this is a different project, and I think that they have achieved what they wanted to accomplish with it. Yeah, Russian Carpet. Wow. That was a big journey. Oh, before I go, I just realized I haven't spoken about the musicians themselves. Like I've gone through this entire album, and I haven't really spoken about the instrumental or vocal performances. If we'll go through the instruments one by one. We've got the drummer who kept the beat the entire time, explored his drum kit fairly competently, knew that he didn't need to be involved with every single track. But when he needed to, he kept the groove going. And I'm assuming he was involved with some of the other percussive elements. We've got the guitarist, the guitar lines, which went between like jangly kind of indie arpeggios to some power chord, gritty overdriven chords. And you have, of course, had some lead solos from one or more guitar takes. And there was never a moment where things sort of sounded too dissonant or whatever. There was always a fundamental care and understanding of the coloration that a harmony needed to have in regards to the solo that you were doing, and it was well done. It was well done, and in addition to this, you've got the bass player as well, who was occasionally coming in there. He was definitely present in the mix when he was there. He had a nice groove to it most of the time. He knew when to take it slow when they needed to have more of a sort of a foundation to the bass line as opposed to sort of a moving groove that worked with the drums, and altogether very competent. You had like woodwind instruments occasionally, which added a nice different texture to the mixes when it was required, but there wasn't too much of it that it became stale. You had the piano lines there, which were fairly minimalist for the most part. There weren't any super ridiculous neoclassical solos or anything like that. But I think to have an additional layer and a similar frequency to the guitars, it was nice to get a nice timbre change, and it was very, very welcome. And then you had the vocals, where the singer that I'm very familiar with the tone of the singer and the way he sings, and I've spoken about the lyrics, but the performance itself, from the different vocalists involved, they knew how to work together, and they also knew when to step back and just let one melody be the dominant one. There wasn't a whole lot of legato-ish flurry to it. There weren't any really wide vibratos. There was a complete lack of auto-tune, which I love it. Please don't. Nightbird Casino, please don't. It just wouldn't suit this music. Although I'm not trying to tell someone how to be creative. It's just, dude, if there'd been auto-tune in this, I would have... With the really raw tones you've got with the other instruments, even when you had those electronic sort of drum samples or whatever, it just would have been very alien and very sort of uncomfortable, I think. But that could just be me. Yep, there was most of the melodies were very simple and repeated between the verses and the choruses, and the way that was functional and meaningful. And I don't really think it needed to be done differently. It was respectful to the subject matter. You didn't try and turn the song into an ego project, so how many different legato runs you can do. And it was nice for the vocalists to take turns in different parts, like with London, where we had the lady singer come in for that last part. And it's just cool. It's just cool stuff, man. I think that's the instruments anyways. But anyways, please do go check out these guys on their SoundCloud. Please do go check out their SoundCloud when you get the chance, and go show them some love. I'm sure that they've got social medias like Spotify as well. And my understanding, because I think I'm receiving a physical copy of this, and again, that's just full disclosure, you know, it hasn't colored my ability to in a neutral way critique this review. I appreciate the fact that they're sending me a physical copy. I really appreciate that, because I miss physical copies of music. I was alive when there were physical copies of music, and there's a lot of people that I know that they weren't, and it's a shame because they're never probably gonna actually be able to hold something that has music on it that isn't in a cell phone. You know what I mean? So for Nightbird Casino to send me a physical copy of this album is a beautiful thing. Hopefully, I haven't said anything too sort of. I don't think I've said anything that was out of line. I don't think I'm going to regret anything I've said in this review. That's effectively my review of Russian Carpet, though, by Nightbird Casino. Hopefully, if you enjoyed it, you're going to show some support to Nightbird Casino and their album that they released. Please do go visit their various social medias and SoundCloud and other streaming platforms. Stay cool and stay safe, and please also remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. Catch your next review. Spider hands up.